Hello and welcome to another wonderful episode of Iron Port. This program is proudly brought to you by Serene Insurance, GOR PLC, the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Link, Meridian Port Services, and Phoenix Insurance. Our proud media partner is the Business and Financial Times. This program is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Now, this week we are discussing the role of ports in West and Central Africa towards the effective implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. So this week we had in the studios Louis Yawafo, who is an AfCFTA expert, as well as the Secretary General of the Port Management Association of West and Central Africa, in the person of Jean-Marie Kofi, to discuss this particular subject. Let's take a listen.
All right, so first of all, I just want you to tell us about the 43rd Annual Council meeting and the 18th Roundtable of the Managing Directors and Director Generals of Ports in West and Central Africa, which just ended in Lagos, Nigeria.
The advent of African Continental Free Trade Area marks a major point for all countries on the continent because it could make it possible to unify and simplify these different trade facilitation agreements. Indeed, intra-African trade could generate indigenous growth, which could help more than 100 million Africans out of poverty. It was really an opportunity to talk about AfCFTA because the port is really involved on this matter, and you have to show that the role you are supposed to play through PMAWCA, this organization, and port members. So you talk about that one, but you have some of the challenges to face and to solve this problem on the port sides.
Okay. So at the end of the day, what were some of the conclusions that you arrived at?
PMAWCA can only rejoice at this great initiative and be part of this dynamic to better take advantage of this opportunity. Africa as a world only representative than less than 10% of international trade. In this perspective, PMAWCA supports the initiative of its members on the signification of administrative and custom procedure, the drastic reduction of custom duty, the elimination of administrative and bureaucratic burdens, the establishment of a port interface constituting a laboratory for experience, including the development of most advanced community digital solution. We support also for regulatory and normative reform, the challenge of the continental logistic network, which is considerable on the scale of the continent.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to find out, I want to find out from you what you are doing as PMAWCA to assist ports in West and Central Africa to position themselves properly to take advantage of this whole agreement. Do you have any things in place that you are doing to support your ports to be able to help in the implementation?
You know that PMAWCA is an organization association for member ports. Most of the time, what you used to do with member ports is you have some of a technical committee in our region and in our association. All those association technical committee, we have a finance committee, you have trade facilitation committees, all those committees, you have environmental committee. So you have some of a meeting along all the year, and you work on it to be sure that you can build the capacity building and to face with all those challenges you have. So PMAWCA is trying also to standardize some of the regulation to be sure that member port, they can have this one in mind and work with this kind of a tool we are putting in place for them to grow the trade and to increase the volume of trade in our region.
Okay. All right. So, Monsieur, don't go. Let me come to the studio. Get Mr. Louis Yaafo to give us your sense of appreciation of the preparedness or readiness of ports in Africa to aid the continental free trade area. Because you've done extensive work, on AfTA, coming from the AfTA Policy Network Group.
I think that, thank you again, and good evening to my colleague. I think that the ports and harbour, always have to differentiate the two.
Yes.
The belly of the whole agreement, the trade agreement. In fact, it's the spirit of the agreement. Because in one of the implementation strategies, AfCFTA is looking at trade-related infrastructure.
Right.
So ports and harbours are key infrastructure needs, are key infrastructure vehicles that the AfCFTA can well be successful. Why? Because you're looking at supply chain, world supply chain. You're looking at the African supply chain. Let me come down to Africa.
Yes.
And all these borders around, now that the goods are produced, how will the goods get to the consumers? If they're not going by maritime, they'll go by air or they'll go by road. So this is where it is important to really identify the role of ports and harbors in the implementation of the AfCFTA. If you are not producing and you are importing from another member state, where will the ships dock? Or where will they dock?
Yes.
Apart from that, how are you going to export your goods? And so it is imperative for us to understand that it is an ingredient of infrastructure that all the member states will have to develop an infrastructure funding. And I'm happy that you realize that Ghana, about the past 6 years, when we had Terminal 3.
Yes.
At the Ghana ports in Tema. Look, you can tell me, since we had the volume of trade, the volume of containers per day have expanded. And these are not containers of nothing, containers of goods.
Absolutely.
And what is the importance of the AfCFTA? To boost intra-African trade. And so it's non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable item for member states to really seek funding or fund when it comes to ports and harbors.
Okay. All right. So I know you've taken a look at some of the initial impediments, militating against the smooth implementation of AfTA. We're told that a considerable number, satisfactory number of countries have ratified and are ready to join and are already running. Tell me, what do you identify as some of the challenges?
You see, the challenges are normal challenges that always are akin to trade. But the key aspect is AfCFTA member states should know by this time they are moving away from too much of the literature. It is important to look at the industrialization agenda. There is the need to start letting machines sound until we begin to connect our value chains to industrialized products, until we hear the sounds of factories, until we hear the sounds of industrial machines producing something. These are the challenges. We are not producing still yet. We are not having the appropriate linkages. And that, I mean, for example, if you know you are your economy is maybe 40% agricultural economy, that means that you're looking at how you connect agribusiness or agri-processing or connect agricultural sector into the linkage into industrialization or manufacturing. So once you identify your priorities, then it takes you to the next steps. But it seems most African countries either don't recognize the particular sector they are dominant.
Right.
If you're able to identify that you're an agribusiness or you're in the service industry, but if you're an agribusiness, and I think most of the economies in Africa are about 50% agribusiness, that tells us then that we should make sure that we quickly look at the next model of our manufacturing and industry to produce. So until we produce and produce and trade among ourselves, it will continue to import from outside the free trade area. Because then we are still neglecting what exactly will cause the intra-trade production. So we call them enabling factors. Even in the AfCFTA class, we call it factor productivity.
Right.
So the basic economics, how do I combine factors of production to produce? And that is one of the ones that I've seen that most of them have neglected, the factor productivity, how to combine capital, combine labor, combine entrepreneurship, all those land. If you don't combine this well, and add one more, technology. If you don't combine this, we only be saying we are trading among ourselves, but we don't have products. If you go to the shelves, I was making a submission somewhere. If you go, because English-speaking countries, we don't trade more with the French.
Yeah.
I won't be surprised you have a trader move away from Ghana all the way through bypass Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, straight to Nigeria. The same applies. You go to most of our supermarkets, go and see the products on the shelf, whether you will see most typical African products. You won't. Most of the products still on the shelves of most African supermarkets are foreign. So it is a sign that we are still grappling with the fundamentals of the free trade agreement.
Iron Port returns after this break.
Guys, now I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay, I come.
Shut up!
Mame, boss, fill my tank with Super XP Ron 95.
Fill up with Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from Goyle.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him. Hey, go for a
Choose Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Goyle, good energy.
Goyle is good energy. Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance
for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
Now, welcome back from the break. News and activities happening within the port and maritime industry next.
The Tema branch of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders has for the first time organized a debate for persons vying for various positions of the institute at the national level. The event afforded the candidates the opportunity to sell their messages across to members. The vacant positions include President, First Vice President, and Second Vice President. The various candidates shared their vision and why the members should repose their confidence in them.
My vision is to establish Ghana's freight forwarding industry as a global benchmark for efficiency, transparency, and professionalism.
Leadership of GIFF needs strategy, needs innovation, and this should center around these fields I've mentioned. Capacity building of independence. How are we empowering them to innovate? Things are changing. That's what I'm bringing on board.
In my days as an executive member, there was an issue of ASHI, and my chairmanship time there was an issue of CTA, travel, and all that. Foreign banks on our business, trying to take our business and all that. We have fought those, despite all the committees that came together to make sure that those jobs are done. I was part of it.
I am ready, very competent. I'm coming to assist the president to deliver his vision. Mine will be suggestion to the president through council.
I will focus on enhancing transparency, accountability, and integrity within the Institute by promoting ethical conduct and ensuring compliance with industry regulations.
I want to be a servant to all with my rich industrial exposure and also add to the good job done by our forerunners.
The chairman of the Tema district of GIFF, Johnny Mante, was impressed about interactions and hoped that members would be able to make an informed decision following the debate.
We've had an interesting session in terms of what members, aspirants would want to do when they come into office. It's been well noted, and I think that we are hoping that the other districts will emulate this.
A delegation comprising representatives of businesses based in Denmark have visited Ghana with the hope of establishing business partnerships with Ghanaian entities and corporations. As part of their visit, the team visited the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to familiarize themselves with the maritime space and business opportunities that emerge out of that environment. They were briefed about the myriad of services offered by the Port Authority.
We do the offloading and loading of cargo on vessels. Every cargo is precious and is different. So for example, the water purification system will be handled differently depending on the type of packaging it is, if it comes in containers. When it comes to pharmaceuticals too, we have reefer facilities. Pharmaceuticals are supposed to be temperature controlled, so they are not handled like the dry containers.
The team also presented peculiar interest for collaborations in the health sector, where they were told about the world-class International Maritime Hospital.
That cross in the middle is a helipad. It's a helipad, so people, patients, emergencies, others can fly in there directly. From our oil fields, which is offshore, they can fly them there. And if there's an emergency on the highway, we are very close to the Trans-West African Highway. It just passes by our backyard, isn't it? So if there are any accidents, or if somebody wants to come from Togo, it's very easy.
Some businessmen from the delegation shared their service offerings with Iron Port.
You can use this 500 times. 500 times will give you 2,000 liters of water, and it's just $4.
So we take these companies in, big ideas, develop them into viable commercial companies, and now we are helping them to go out in the world. And we have two objectives in this. Of course, they have to remain business sustainable, but they also need to deliver wide-scale societal impact.
The 43rd Annual Council Meeting and 18th Roundtable of Director Generals and Managing Directors of the Ports Management Association of West and Central Africa, PMAWCA, has ended in Lagos, Nigeria. Drawing participation from all PMAWCA member countries spanning West and Central Africa, this year's meeting centered on the preparedness of PMAWCA ports to aid the smooth and effective implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. The meeting drew attendance from more than 250 delegates and was held from the 6th through to the 9th of November under the theme, The Role of Ports in the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Opening the meeting, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who was represented by the Minister for Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, underscored the importance of the maritime sector to the development of the economies of the various countries.
And full automation is the only way to go if we plan to remain competitive in the global maritime industry.
Host of the meeting and Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Mohammed Bello Kuku, in his welcome remarks, was emphatic on the need for ports to take matters of sustainability seriously. According to him, countries in West and Central Africa are linked in challenges and multiple opportunities.
Given the increasing realization of the leverage that economic cooperation confers in the international arena, would be doing great disservice to ourselves if we fail to maximize this unity through the cooperation of our ports.
The Comptroller of the Nigerian Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeyini, on his part called for effective collaboration between Customs Administration and port authorities to aid smooth trade facilitation under the AfCFTA.
Once stakeholders across all of Africa gathered together to discuss an issue that is germane to African developments, we all must give it the support that is necessary.
Ports in West and Central Africa are fully prepared in terms of infrastructure and otherwise to aid the implementation of the AfCFTA. The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Lugoje, who made the declaration during the 43rd Annual Council Meeting and 18th Roundtable of the Director Generals and Managing Directors of the Ports Management Association of West and Central Africa, averred that the ports have been positioned to take advantage of the agreement. Michael Lugoje was chairing a plenary session on how AfCFTA has fared 3 years on. The GPHA Director General, who also doubles as the Vice President of the International Ports and Harbours Association, expressed optimism about the readiness of the ports to aid exports on the continent.
The ports have facilities to handle cargo and ships. We have facilities to handle cargo and ships. Our capacity has been tested as far as imports are concerned, but we haven't been able to achieve 40% capacity for export shipment to our ports. And that's why we should be interested in AfCFTA, but that is going to help us generate cargo within the continent that must move from A to B.
The Executive Secretary of the National Action Committee on AfCFTA in Nigeria, Olusegun Awolowo, on his part, explained how AfCFTA has become the biggest trading bloc in the world and why it is imperative for Africa to give it her all.
Revenue is going to fall short when we start full implementation of AfCFTA, because African countries are not going to be paying duty again. So that's why the trade facilitation process is very important.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority swept 4 awards at the 7th edition of the African Ports Awards held in Lagos, Nigeria last week. GPHA won the award for the best port in Integrated Management System Policy, while the Port of Tema won the award for the best port in import and export and container traffic. The Director General of GPHA, Michael Lugoje, received a special incentive award. The General Manager in charge of Marketing and Corporate Affairs, Esther J.B. Donko, picked the award for the best woman in strategic project management, maritime and port sector, a special award reserved for distinguished members of the Port Women's Network in West and Central Africa. Speaking on behalf of all women award winners, Esther Jebidonko said the awards are a call to action where women will strive to give more in their respective roles in the industry. According to her, the award is a motivation that will inspire women to aspire to higher heights.
Acknowledgement as a source of inspiration to push boundaries further, break stereotypes, and continue to advocate for opportunities for women in the maritime industry.
This award comes on the back of an earlier one she received at the 10th African and Spanish Maritime and Port Women's Conference in Las Palmas. Esther Jebidonko was honored for her pioneering role in the industry, especially in the network of professional women in maritime port sectors of West and Central Africa. The award was received on her behalf by Abna Sewol Pokufosu, president of the Ghana chapter of Professional Women in Maritime and Port sectors of West and Central Africa, and Marketing and Public Affairs Manager of the Port of Tema.
It's now time for some international ports and maritime news.
The United States International Development Finance Corporation, DFC, has committed more than $500 million to support the development of a deep water shipping container terminal in the port of Colombo, Sri Lanka. The new terminal reflects DFC's commitment to financing high-quality infrastructure that supports development needs, invests in local communities, and is respectful of local financial conditions. Mediterranean Shipping Company, the world's biggest shipping company, has named MSC Turkey one of the world's largest and most fuel-efficient container ships by design to date. The naming ceremony was held on October 30, the day following the Republic Day, which marked the 100th anniversary of the Turkish Republic. On the occasion, the newest Calestino Maresca class 24,000 TEU vessel made its maiden call at Asia Port, Turkey's largest transit container port.
Up next is the word of the day.
Breakwaters refer to the physical structure that protects port infrastructure from the sea.
Now, schedules of vessels in the ports, those at anchorage and those expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate you need to know to clear your goods from the ports next. This is where we draw the curtain on this week's episode of Iron Port. Thank you for watching, and thanks to the entire crew. Also follow us on our various social media platforms that are on your screens. Thank you for watching.